Okay, welcome to a tutorial on shading. I just wanted to do an extreme shaded one, and then so you can kind of really see the difference of the original purple dress, that's a matte color, and then the ones with the variants of shading gradients on top. And I kind of wanted to show you this overlap so you can kind of really see where it stands out, but then have it more of a faded at the top here so you can really see when it's done right, how it looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a purple dress, and if I open up this layer here, you can kind of see all the pieces that connect to make it. So if I hide this, here are my pen tool designed arcs to create each shape, and there's quite a few lines going on within everything. So I have one arc, one arc, one arc, one arc, one arc, one arc to make up 6 arcs to make this dress. I'm going to just lock this file and hide it, and we're going to start together. So here is my lovely dress. What I need to do is make sure that I have 2 pieces to the dress. So I'm going to actually, before I get too far into it, take this simple dress layer and duplicate it as well. So copy, paste, so that I have on layer 4 a dress and on layer 3 a dress. Okay, and why we're going to do that is because at the very end, you're going to make a clipping mask, and I want you to have all the pieces in place so that when you go to make your clipping mask, everything is set up for you. So on the top layer, layer 4, you don't even need the whole dress. You just need to have the outline of the dress. And sorry, my recorder's on, so my Illustrator likes to be extremely glitchy and slow. So just bear with me as we power through this. There's no pause button. So once I'm happy with the dress, I'm going to lock it there. And again, hide the eyeball because I don't need it right now. But I will need it later. So now I'm on my layer 3. And so what I'm going to do on layer 3 is I'm going to add all my arc. So the first thing I need to do is grab my pen tool, and I'm going to arc from the side. So pen tool is to create the shining of the side. It's kind of my first step. That is a horrible, there we go. And from there, I'm going to go to my gradient panel and actually add a linear gradient for the actual dress. At any point this would like to work, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, obviously this color here is way too dark, as you can see when we do the final one, so I'm going to remove it. And then again, if I need to duplicate colors, you're more than welcome to duplicate colors and have more of them. And then however spacing distance, you can change how much the gradient goes out with the arrows at the top as well. To kind of create that spacing for your gradient. When you're happy with both the gradient and the size of the gradient, we're going to add a couple extra steps. So the next thing I do is I go to Effect, the first stylize, not the bottom one. The first stylize, feather, hit preview, add a feathered edge to my dress so it's kind of faded out on the edges. Then I'm going to go to the opacity, change the opacity so it's there, but it's not really blatantly in your face there. Copy, paste, right click, transform, reflect. Lets me have the exact same lines, the exact same places on the other side of the dress, as if it's coming and wrapping around. Then if I hold shift and select both of these, I can use my wonderful align menu, which is under window, align if you don't see it, and align them to the center so that they are 100% symmetrical. Again, if you want to resize them, you can click them both at the same time, and it keeps that sizing locked together so you have kind of symmetry of the dress. Again, if you want to make them bigger, there's no ending point to what you can do. The problem is once you've made a clipping mask, you are kind of stuck with that. So make sure that you have it happy before you make your clipping mask. Same deal, I'm going to make my second arc, which will go over the bottom of the dress. And again, I want to make sure my lines, the reason I didn't copy and paste is because I want my lines to go up and down. I want to make sure that they are centered and that it makes sense to the dress, where it gets lighter to darker, and there's kind of symmetry between it all. Again, it's the same steps on repeat. When you are happy, you would then go to your feathered edge and your opacity. So window, effect, stylize, feather, preview what the feather would look like, increase or decrease depending on what you're working on. Opacity, change the opacity so it kind of fades out, but it's there to create the width of shading. It gets lighter in the center to darker, right? The little things make all the difference. If you need to resize it, you can resize it so it overlaps and starts blending. From there, I like to always have 2 at the top. So I'm going to create, I'm actually going to lock this dress so I don't grab it because I'm going to click into it now and create one here to have kind of the shading coming in from this side. And copy and paste it so there's full balance. Right click, transform, reflect. Okay, and then you can have that shading coming across the slide. And you can make it whatever size you want. So if you would like it to be bigger or smaller, you can have it whatever size you need it to be making sense on your dress. Or wider too, right? Because you will add the feathered edge, it will all fade out nicely. So maybe that's kind of more the size I was looking for, let's just say. Copy and paste it. Transform, reflect. Okay, and then what I have to make sure I do is that I align them, otherwise it won't make sense. Align so they're centered. Again, effect, stylize, feather, and preview. Always preview it because obviously that's way too big of a feather for where that is. And then you can change the opacity so it's there, but it's not as prominently there. Figure out the number that kind of makes it happy. And then I add one final one to the top of the neckline. Effect, stylize, feather, preview. And then with that, I can relocate it. Opacity. Now I have all these pieces that make up the shading of my dress. I probably want these ones to overlap a little bit. So I have my dress, very content with everything. So what I'm going to do now is unlock that top layer and turn on the eyeball again so it's there. And then unlock the bottom layer because I'll need that as well. Drag over everything so that every piece gets selected. Now again, as long as that green box is on top, which is just the outline of the dress, and you can see it's just the outline. So what we're going to do now is take just that dress, my apology, and make sure that we just have an outline. We want no fill. Okay, so we can still see everything, and then we'll select everything. And then object, clipping mask, make. And what this will do is it will lock everything in within the outline of the green layer. And we remove all the extra, and we can see how the shadowing comes into play. I kind of did some extreme parts so you can really see what it would look like in different pieces with different kind of depths, but you can see how that shadowing comes in. I hope that helps.